Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real.
Jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, and the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie, let's rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song.
Check it out, I'm the CASN, the OVA, and the rest is FLY. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix, and these reasons I'll tell you why. You see, I'm 6'1", and I'm tons of fun, and I dress to a T. You see, I got more clothes than Muhammad Ali, and I dress so viciously. I got bodyguards, I got two big cars, I definitely ain't the whack. I got a Lincoln Continental and a some new Cadillac. So after school, I take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. Hear me talking about checkbook, it costs more money than a sucker could ever spend. But I wouldn't give a sucker or a punk from the rock, not a dime till I made it again. Everybody go, oh, what you gonna do today? Is I'm gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spank and drive off in a death OJ. Everybody go, holiday in. See, if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. I'm Master G, I'm out mellow, it's on you, so what you gonna do?
Well, it's on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I said a M-A-S, a T-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call a Master G. Well, my name is known all over the world by all the foxy ladies and the pretty girls. I'm going down in history as the baddest rapper that ever could be. Now I'm feeling the highs and you're feeling the lows. The beat starts getting into your toes. You start pumping your fingers and stomping your feet and moving your body while you're sitting and you're sitting. Then damn, you start doing the freak. I said bam, right out of your seat. Then you throw your hands high in the air. You're rocking to the beat, shake your dairy air. You're rocking to the beat without a care. You're the short shot MCs for the affair. Now I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I rap to the beat just the same. I got a little face and a pair of rhyme eyes. All I'm here to do, ladies, is hypnotize. Sing it on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on like a hot butter. The pop, the pop, the pop, give it, pop, the pop, pop. You don't dare stop or come alive, y'all. Give me what you got. I guess by now you can take a hunch and find that I am the baby of the bunch, but that's okay. I still keep in stride, cause all I'm here to do is just a wiggle your behind. Sing it on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on. Rock, y'all. Throw it on the floor.
Hurry up and get that off before they cut me off. Good morning to my lovely people. How is everybody doing this AM?
Good morning.
The Saturday. Look, the Saturday before Easter.
Yes. I forgot yesterday was Good Friday, and I was just driving around all day, and right around rush hour, I was like, why is it so easy to get through? There's no traffic. Where everybody at? Then I was like, oh, it's Good Friday. Either they was off or they got off early. Because there was like literally no traffic. And I was loving it though, because trying to get through traffic from 2:30 to 7 in the evening. Yeah, but it was lovely yesterday.
Was it? I couldn't see here. I couldn't figure out why it was so crowded. So I forgot about Good Friday. I said, you know what? This here COVID got me. I said, I got to get back into a church building. Then I would have known that it was Good Friday. I would have known Palm Sunday, which I did know Palm Sunday was last week. And then it just was like, oh, wait. Yeah, I got to get that body back into a doggone building here so I know what's happening. So.
And tomorrow there's the Lighthouse Church down the street from me. Tim LeMan is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
I saw her at First Baptist Church of Glen Hardin. That's where I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, several times. That's in Maryland. Shout out to you, Pastor Jenkins. I like him and I watch him online too. But go ahead, you going into the building? You got yourself a hat.
Girl, yes, you know I got a hat now.
You going into the building? Don't tell me you going for the concert.
I'm going to the building. If I don't get up and go to work, I'm going into the building.
Hey, AmberDee, she going for the concert. I'm joking. What's up, AmberDee? How you been, honey?
I need to get back in the church. It's like, because I'm always working. But yeah, I need to make
right? And then, and it's so sad. Never mind, I ain't even going to say that. I ain't even going to be like your people. We're going to say that topic too. We got to talk about it. I was getting ready to say something. AmberDee, what's happening with you? Still got any girl? Go ahead.
I knew it was Good Friday because I didn't have to work, so I was, enjoying my day off. It was very nice.
Very good. You still got any of those Girl Scout cookies?
No, they was gone in like 2 hours. Just nibbling away.
Okay.
They were good. And they don't, because it was peanut butter, it didn't taste like super fasting, but yeah, they're just good little snacks.
Now, you know what? I would say that. Yes. Good snacks. Good snacks. Wait, listen. For the listening audience, I'm going to give you this number real quick. 619-902-2287. 619-902-2287. If you're viewing, don't worry about why AmberDee is looking like a 1982 Kung Fu movie. Because the leg, I think that was probably it back in the day. You be sitting there like, why don't they mouth line up? But I got you, girl, so I'm just going to look away. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to look away because I definitely want to hear what you have to say, and so does the listening audience. All right, I got an ego trip this morning. I got the ego trip. It ain't about the people. It ain't about my normal people. I just got an ego trip because, sometimes you be like seeing people and they are who they are, but they were who they were. Like they were like that dude. You know what I'm saying? And then some people date that dude from the 80s. Seen that dude from the 80s, but we all looking at the dude from the 2000s.
Ooh, child, listen.
So wait, let me clear. So do you understand where I'm going, where I'm at?
Uh-huh.
AmberDee, do you?
I mean, kind of. So you're talking about people who get stuck in a decade?
Yeah, they get stuck in 2 decades. They get stuck in 2 decades, and they don't look the same either. But we're dating. I'm saying this because it's my homie, but that's my girl. But like, I'm looking at what she's looking at, but she's not looking at what I'm looking at.
She's looking at what it was.
Yeah, she looking at what it was, and I'm looking at, do you see what's in front of you? Like,
it's like, womp, 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 womp.
I'm like, y'all got a basketball court? Like, is he like out back? Like, do you have one like dunking? Like, help me out. Help me understand why we still on this air quotes for the listening audience. The popular guy that he was popular, and I'm thinking like, was he popular? and he didn't pay you any attention, so now you're like, this is my time? Help me out.
Yeah, listen. I know a few people like that. One that was, graduated in the 80s, and he was the stuff back then. He was the stuff when he went to the service, stuff when he first came home from the service. And I was quite a bit younger. Well, I'll say about 8 years younger. So, when I got a shot, I was like, yes, because he was fine back in the day. See that brother now, and it's like, ew. Ew. He whack now. Real whack.
I wonder if cats are whackity whack. And you can't do no black, no trade back.
Exactly. Like, dude, what happened to you? I'm glad I got him at the end of his swagness. Because after that, I'd been like, where do you do that at?
I ought to ask her, do she carry, like, in her wallet a picture of how he did look? Is that petty?
That would be weird.
What?
That'd be super weird.
What? For real?
Yeah. I think that if she
No,
has...
she messed around and answered you and said, yes, what you gonna do?
Listen. Confession. Confession. Listen. Some people don't understand. I have a picture of my ex-husband in my wallet. But it's our family photo that I have.
Okay.
So.
But it has your children in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then that explains something.
Just in case somebody be like, oh, I'm like, no, this what he looked like when we was together. This how he was. Now he ain't jacked up now, but still. No, this is what we used to look like. I wonder if dudes do that. It's some guy out there that got a picture of his child's mother or ex in the wallet, and the chick he with is probably like, well, why you carrying around that? Be like, if I explained it to you, you wouldn't understand it.
Right.
I wonder if there's somebody out there like that. I'd be a mess. Like, I do, especially when they be like,
people carry old pictures in their wallets, though. Not just for memories or like certain, but yeah.
And it's not for that. It's just to let you.
I wouldn't even think. I would think you would have it because of your children. Like,
it's a family photo. Why you still got that in there? I got this in here to let you know what was. This here my. This how I used to look. Check me out. No, why you got yourself yet? But anyway, petty Bill. Petty LaBelle, me. That's it. I just asked, and I just don't understand. I was looking. I was like, well, maybe she dating him. Let me understand. Let me talk to my girls to see, is this a thing?
Unfortunately, I think it is.
Oh.
I wouldn't think it is a thing. But, yeah. They can have at it. Because if you don't look like you did or look better than what you did back in the day, peace out.
And then, when you had those regrets, though, you don't have to be looking at your dude, be like on the side of the corner sitting down. I ain't saying that about my ex, so let me put that out there at all, because he's not. He's doing amazing. But when you be like, don't tell nobody.
And listen, and I've dated a few of those where I look at them now and be like, oh, what the hell were you thinking? Yeah, I've dated a few of them. Like,
What about you? Ever came out the gate married?
Well, no, I can't relate, but
right.
I would not carry old photos of myself or a partner. Because I have too many. Like, I don't know. My purse is always full of receipts anyway, so it's already cluttered and messy. So I'm like, I don't want anything extra in there. And then I make sure to keep current photos of my kid for, like, missing abduction type thing, for safety. But I still feel like, man, I don't know. If that's all I have in my wallet, like, just like the safety picture of my child.
She's so calculated. That's so nice. That is so nice. Okay, so yours is all safety. But you got receipts. Yeah. But you gotta have Nick, tell her she gotta have the receipts from before too. The other kind of receipts.
But see, with me, I age like fine wine, so I always like newer pictures. Boom.
Right. That's how I feel too. Like, I don't feel like I need to keep old pictures of myself. Like, I feel like I look good now. I do have some pictures of my husband that I've been hoping to find, like, on an old flash drive and get them printed. But that's just for memory's sake. Like,
right. Well, in your case, it would be different.
Because you're a widow.
Right.
So for the listening audience that don't know, they probably like, what? she's not moving on. Who's gonna be? It's all good. Listen, we got a great show planned for you today. And today's topic is the hip hop culture. So we have none other but the lovely Rain out of the ATL, the hip hop culturist. Nick, I believe you know her. She gonna keep us up on what's going on and what's happening in hip hop. It's 50 years this year. 50 years we are celebrating. So let's get this show on the road.
How you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yes, I'm doing great. Ooh.
What's happening down there?
Well, the weather changed up so fast. It was like 70. It was about 80 degrees yesterday. And so while I was hanging downtown, the temperature just plummeted like 5 to 10 degrees while I was down there. And it's cold now. So it's cold, that's all. So I'm adjusting to that.
Trying to get adjusted?
Yes.
Any celebrations, we know all year that there was a lot going on, especially I can't remember which award show it was where they actually went into the celebration. Who was it? LL, Salt and Pepper. Was Busta on there?
I think they had the majority of. I saw Busta, but I might be confused because there was different celebrations. Like
right.
Wherever he was at, you mentioned it.
It was
because of social media. Everybody was able to get in on it. So I can't remember if they were in the same place or not. But I know it's a special year, although I think they're taking it kind of lightly, really. And then we're confused again still with hip hop culture is 50 or is the rap music 50? Like, what's going on? Because we are pinning it on August 11th, which is when DJ Kool Herc's sister had a birthday, so they knew how to pin it on because it's her birthday. So we say that's definitely the day that the first record was spent into a break, where an artist was able to jump in on a loop that a DJ did. So it's tied into coming in together August because it gets colder. We come in big buildings together, celebrate, and the music was included. The DJ was there, the artists were there, the rappers were there, and then the dancers were all present. So that's the day that they attribute to it being hip hop's birthday. So this will be the 50th year. 1973 was that day, which was her birthday.
Which is the bomb year. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for the people born in 73.
This is a breakthrough moment for me. I just was typing it on Facebook, but I did delete it. But this is the first time I've ever said this, and I'm going to say it on Shop Talk with Mel. Hip-hop is 50, and guess what? So am I. This year, I'll be turning 50. That is not something that I commonly would say, want to mention, or even think about, y'all. Because hip-hop culture keeps us very young, healthy, and it's always been about positivity. So
Right.
I always got to come step in because history is written by the winners. So I love to get on the internet and just add that little bit of extraness to it so that if a young person does come across it in the future, that they do see that there was real purpose in our culture. It wasn't just about what we see today, which is rough out there in the industry.
It is.
It is. It's at times I always weigh if I want to be bothered. But we have to maintain what we want to be known as, and who we are. Because they're all, we say they, but society always is the writer. They're the narrator to our lives. We cannot allow this. We can't allow this.
I agree with you.
Right. So that feels good. I'll be 50 this year too with hip hop. So it's no mystery why this culture has taken over my life. And I realized that I could have applied my gifts to any culture. And I chose hip hop. It chose me, growing up in Youngstown, growing up in the Midwest, where we were in between the West and the East Coast. So we got to get a feel of both. We got to choose how we wanted to sound and who we thought were better. We never were included, into Bone Thugs and Harmony. I would say.
Right.
They kind of said, okay, Midwest, and then there was this fast, skippity rapping that we brought to the table, but they didn't realize that wasn't the sound of the Midwest. The sound of the Midwest is hip hop sound that you're always hearing because we are the musicians of the industry. Take that moment to throw that in there too. Being the children of funk and many classic R&B groups. Our music is sampled by the truckloads, right? So we are the sound of East and West. And so I wanted to say that. So Midwest, we've been the consumers. We've been the ones that keep the music on the map.
Let's give it up. Let's give it up to our music.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's been sampled. Now, I do know, you have the younger generation, and what they know is P. Diddy.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
And he's a sample king, right?
Man! Okay!
Right. And he sampled a lot of the origins coming from the Midwest, which is irrelevant, but I'm just kicking facts. The OJs, even Get Money, the popular underground song that didn't make it mainstream.
Get Money.
That's a quarter of an OJ song.
Yes.
At the beginning, yeah. The OJs just used that sound for about 8 bars. It just went to a whole nother world. But right there was something that we could use to express ourselves. So I always say hip hop is a quarter of funk because we take the 8 bars and we loop them, or sometimes 4, So yeah, it is a science. There is a science there.
It is, but that's funny that you should say the sample king because that's exactly who he is. I was like, okay, they was like, oh yeah, he the coldest. Well, that was already there. I like the new sound when hip hop first, when I got introduced to hip hop, it was you made beats like in your basement. You know what I'm saying? So it was like you made beats, you made that sound, and then it was something new and fresh and not sampled. So you got your who is it? Salt and Peppers, and I always say Salt and Pepper because I've been a big fan. Your Heavy D, I've been a big fan of Heavy D as well.
Right.
You had a new sound, the Fat Boys. You had a new, their sound was just beatboxing. Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh. And it was like, okay, like you said.
A rule of thumb, you had to have a new sound. And that's the thing about the industry today. If the right people could have been in charge of it or a greater influence, we don't want to hear the same thing over and over again on the radio. We want to hear the variety. At the talent shows, times we got together, we need you to be different.
Right.
Originality was one of the categories that we are judging you upon, right? So that was important. So you'll see that a lot in the past, what they call old school. You're gonna see different sounds. If you sounded like MC Light, well,
oh, that's my girl. Yeah,
you're gonna say, right? They're gonna be like,
we already got one.
Right. Thank you. See you later. There was never keep bringing the same thing, but yeah, that was originality. which is what is a part of melanated people culture, not to limit anyone, but that was the main thing, being different. So hearing these sounds repeated and hearing now artists say, well, I need to sound like that to get popular so people would listen to me is not a true, the true nature of this culture anyway.
Now, I heard Snoop on an interview, and he was talking about, he had a different sound. He was talking about all this mumble rap.
Mm-hmm.
Alleged. Well, I heard it, but he said it. And I got it. To me, the first person that was doing the mumble rap to me was Daz Effects. Bum stickity bum, which I love that song. And then it was like, everybody's like, it's all the same.
Right.
So do we...
Right. It's amazing that, and then they're really saying something.
But you can't understand it.
So they went back in history. I think they looked at blues, the mumble rappers here in Atlanta, and they made a way to become acceptable. And they said, this is our blues. This is the blues of rap music, the mumble rap. And they compared it to times when blues singers would just go off into a tangent, right? And it used to be cooing and different sounds. And so that's what they say they're doing. They're just coming out of spirit with the emotions
that we can't understand.
Maybe speaking in a tongue. But this is how they accredit it, though. This is why we're hearing it. Because, they have found a way to say, hey, this is acceptable. This is art. Get into it. You know what I mean?
Now let's get into it. It sounds like the next person and the next person.
Mm-hmm.
So how in the world, how is this happening? Is it because of social media? Because
it's
like you were saying before,
it's because of the people, just like everything around us.
Because before we didn't have social media, so it was originality. Let me see, what can you do different? Let's hear a different sound on the radio. And then people had distinctive sounds, so you were able to just call them out and be like, oh, okay, I know who that is. I.e., JJ Fad. That was another quick, fast rapping. JJ Fad and Salt and Pepper. You knew who was who. You knew East Coast, I'm always saying versus West Coast, because it always was a thing. You knew who NWA was. And it was original because they were more like angry. It was like that. It was like that anger rap. And then Snoop came and you had that, him and Nate Dogg threw that R&B in there. But it was like calm too, but it was like, listen to what's happening. And back then, and it's still happening, Public Enemy, listen to what's happening right now, and it's still happening.
Because I was so happy for NWA. I had a whole different perception. They really was putting a staple on freedom of speech. Right?
Yes.
Our country, you can say what you want. You can do what you want, right? So even when it came out, I was so excited. I played it for my mother. I didn't know what was on my mind, because when I put it in there, I pushed play. This was tapes, in the car, and I'm like, Mom, listen, and then they come out cussing and saying all this stuff, and she was like, can you turn that off, please? Can you? And I mean, like, she didn't get it. I'm like, they're saying what they want to say. That's how I took it. I didn't even get into the content that it was, maybe swearing or whatever, but they were political, but they had some rough songs too. But I didn't know why I thought my mom could share that moment with me. Seriously, because I was looking at freedom of speech over the lyrics themselves of what they chose to say.
Oh, they allowed to cuss. That was
right.
But who they allowed to cuss?
We get it somewhere. We climbing the ladder. I took it wrong.
You took it wrong? Listen, I already knew. I'll never forget when I got my tape. You remember how the people used to be on the corner and they was selling cassettes? They had like a ton of them. And then you go get yours. I remember my mother she got the Georgia Mass Choir, and I wanted a tape. I was like, I want NWA. So she get it, didn't have a clue what it was. Man, I popped that in there. Played the nappy dugout. Didn't know what they were talking about at the time. Then it was like, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
Talk about giving up the nappy dugout.
Right. We was innocent then, but our parents, they caught on quick like, what? If you don't turn that on, I was just like, but okay, then you kind of hear it because now you're sharing the ears with your parents. So now
Right.
you're hearing
it's like, oh
what's
wait,
really going on. So I was like,
But
I apologize.
right. And then they had that the parental, what is it, guidance suggested or something like that down at the bottom of the tapes, because I believe that they were probably, look, those were the pioneers of it. Like, oh, we need to put parental discretion advised. That was it. Having that down at the bottom, because you had I got like the Tone Loc and the Bobby Brown up to the Tenderoni. I got them all at the same time. I was like, oh, this is it. And music was music, and hip hop was hip hop, and I appreciated hip hop. Do you you want to talk about the first hip hop group? What about Angie Stone? A lot of people didn't know Angie Stone.
I just found out this year that Angie Stone was who she is.
What?
And the different things she was doing. Wasn't she writing for somebody or something?
She
was a rapper.
Yep, she was rapping with what's the girls' names? I can't think of it. I got the song in my head. It's gonna come. It's gonna come before the end of the show.
I can't remember. I for sure can't remember, but I did see that, and that was interesting because there are a lot of backgrounds that we don't get to see.
The Sequence. She was with the Sequence.
Okay.
She was with the Sequence, and that was during that whole Rapper's Delight time. The Rapper's Delight.
Right. So females have always been there.
Been on the scene. Always been on the scene.
Another thing. So have do I want to say the Latinos, Spanish? Our family. They were there from the beginning too. From the very beginning. And I was looking at some of the history, and I saw how they were more graffiti artists. They were the artists and dancers. And I thought maybe it was because of what they had access to.
Okay.
Their parents probably had paint cans and more tools around to work and to build. And then at our homes, we had the albums, the stereos, So we took on the rapping, the dancing, the DJ side. And it seemed like they took on more of the graffiti side. But I did want to add that they were always there from the beginning. And we were always multicultural. It's not a black thing.
Right.
It's not. And it's a culture that gives a voice to all people, And that cannot be limited because as we sit here now and still debate about things, hip-hop in other countries is flourishing like it just started.
I know. They coming out like this is it. Something that I think, you kind of wonder if it's rebellion. It's like, okay, well, I wasn't able to listen to this, so this is what I'm doing, i.e. your Vanilla Ices. I'm going to keep that on there. But my first rap song that pulled me in was this one. Let's see if I can get it going. You know that? Rapper's Delight. That was mine, the Sugar Hill Gang. That was in 1980. Right. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. I'm going to see if the ladies have some questions for you, so I'm going to add them to the scene and go from there. All right. Hey, ladies. How you doing? Hey. Look, AmberDee on lag. Look. Any questions for Ray? No, she answered it.
I have some questions. Listen, I had to look at when you were trying to figure out Angie Stone. It was Blondie, and the other one.
The Sequence is the song.
The sequence, it was Funk You Right On Up. Funk You Up.
That's the sequence, yeah. Funk You Right On Up. We gonna funk you right on up. Yeah, that's the sequence, yes.
They formed in 1979, and they were the first female rappers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Because I didn't know. I know those albums were around when me and my cousin, we did listen to those. And then Parliament also has some females that would do songs too.
Uh-huh.
Big influence on us, yes.
A huge influence. What you got, AmberDee, from a different generation?
Okay, because when you had said, the younger generation can relate to P. Diddy, I'm like, no, think you dating yourself. Because I think P. Diddy is more my generation, but like the youth are more like Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Eminem, kind of. Even Eminem is like a little bit older. So I want to know, what were your thoughts on these new rappers like Tyler the Creator and all these new female rappers like Megan Thee Stallion, you know, even Nicki Minaj. She's had a really long career in hip hop. And then there's like what I say, Mona Leo. She's a new. There's so many more female rappers right now that are mainstream, and I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Can I dig in here real quick? Okay, Rain, 1 second. We had, you guys got all these other people. We had Foxy Brown. We had Trina. We had Lil Kim. Go ahead though, Rain.
Yeah, Lil Kim and Trina Foxy. Yeah. Megan, what I see is a great business model, what I would say about those artists. I just watched a Tyler the Creator documentary. I got into about 15 to 20 minutes of it. It was all right, but I saw that he used the culture, or we just say rap music, to push a movement to express itself. And that's the purpose of it. Megan Thee Stallion, I got a chance to deal with her camp right before the big boom. And the same thing with Ludacris. Sometimes I meet artists right before the big boom, okay? Before they become more popular, you know, or whatever, you know, or trending. Let's use that word. Before they start to trend. And the business model is there. The world that was created for them, they're using it, right? And most of the time they may be pushing an agenda, but what I really want to say about those two artists is that they used the template in our business model and became very successful through it. And you'll see that. But when it comes to Nicki Minaj, there's some artists that have basically worn us out. And through the research of the underground, because I'm from the underground, and through the research, the doors have been shut. It's like no time have we ever listened to no one artist for no 10, 15 years. There's nothing else that you're going to be able to do here. So this is now a product and business. So that stunts the culture. That keeps us, what you guys were just talking about, in an era. We're sitting there for years looking at one thing, and there's so much more going on. You know what I mean? And there's so many more sounds being created that they shut the door on. I don't know who they is, but Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z and all of them are, my opinion, should have labels and should be pushing out young people if it was healthy. But we're not dealing with healthy. We're dealing with money. And we're dealing with the powers that be that controlled us. Till now, we're dealing still with slavery. So, you know, it drags us so far back. We're dealing with women having to be naked to be relevant. You know, Megan, she went there. And there's a choice. Are you going to go there? And most women say yeah. Because if you say no, I'm not going to know you. Their names are mentioned on this show today. The women that kept their clothes on. Yeah, no.
MC Light, I said you said MC Light, Salt and Pepper. They kind of was a little risky just with the biker short. You know what I mean? That was all risky.
Right. So I love Tyler. I love both of all those that you mentioned. I like their business models. I think that the fact that we created a path from poverty to wealth through expressing yourself with rhyme into music out to the world is a great thing. It's a great thing. And, you know, many people still pursue it today, even though it's not, even though it's more of the Wizard of Oz, they still pursue it today. Because now with the technology, there's no one you're going to need. There's nothing in your way when it comes to creating and sharing with the world. Now it's all right there at your fingertips on your phone or your laptop, however you're doing your thing. And you don't need that acceptance. You don't need to go through the rituals that they go through, whether it be changing the words of a song or, you know, having to bleep out stuff, you know, just all kinds of stuff that you have to go through that we call rituals. Or selling your soul is really if I'm a gospel artist and then one of the popular artists want to do a song with me and I take that risk. I've already bent, you know, I take that risk to do a secular song with Lil Kim or Nicki Minaj because she's universal, right? won't stop and look at my message and make sure I'm keeping that same vibe going. It's okay to grow. We love to see the artist grow, but when you're breaking your own rules, that's where those words come from. Ritual, selling your soul. It is not as deep as people think, but it has gotten that deep. Don't get me wrong. There is different cultures inside of the rap industry, as well as all the music, right? And it's where the money is. So
now you brought up a good point, and you are right. Usually there is no way that you are still relevant consecutively for 10 years. So it is like, where are the other people?
It's no offense to you, and it definitely has nothing to do with age. We constantly growing and changing. To be hip-hop was to be ahead.
Right.
Every world was ahead. Remember, we called it youth. And we had to know the latest news. We had to know what's going on with Biden. We got to know which street or girl the vice president stay on. Because we got to say this in our freestyles, right? We got to know the latest factions. We got to know what Kim and Kanye got going on, as well as what is grandma watching on the soap operas. Like we reading, knowing, communicating, it was a part of it.
It was
part of it, right? So.
And I used to be reading. Look, Get Me, the Right On magazine. Every time it came out, when it dropped, I had all the news, Nick. I was like, let me tell you
what's going on. And as a collab, as a group, we had to know what was going on to be a hip hop head, yo. It's not nothing to play with, And I know some of the best of them that can answer all the questions, who is who, and same thing with the gangster rap. And when the mainstream got a hold of it, it was more like the older guys were thugs and the younger men were the lovers and the fathers. They sent out false messages. You'll see the younger guys singing R&B and being sexy and handsome, but then you see the more older guys playing around with guns and talking about gangs. It's like, what is going on? And we'll send out a lot of false signals, and we didn't know how powerful we were. Like today when I hear Tupac, I literally have to stop and talk to him in the spirit and say, I'm mad at you, bruh. Listen to your words. No wonder these things took place.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if they're playing all along or whatever, but when you hear some of the words that he was saying and the prediction and prophecy of his own death, knowing that words are powerful, that's our tool, And so that's a lot. That's a lot we've learned.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And I listen to the new rap, and they say, whoever they is, air quotes for the listening audience, they say, oh, this is the life I'm living. I'm rapping about what I'm going through. And that's how you can tell when it's like, all right, we can tell you phony. You know what I mean? You rapping about what you think somebody else is going through when it's not all bad days. And then it was like cool, be like, oh, okay, I'm from the projects. And that was like a cool thing. Was that like street credit or whatever? And it'd be like, yeah, but people that came from the projects, it wasn't all bad. And I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't bad because you were amongst your community. Right. So feeling like you didn't have, most people didn't know until they got outside of their community. So when you were rapping about life. You were rapping, like you said, you had to do your homework. You had to see, okay, like the Young and the Restless, you can hear that in lines because that was what you were around. It's like, okay, this is me going to school. This is me living life. This is my uncle. This is you rapped about everything, and you had to know. And nobody wasn't just doing the Cracker Jack rhymes, which right. I can appreciate that. That's why I was always a fan of Public Enemy. That was my thing, And Arrested Development. I liked Arrested Development too. And they kind of like was a little, they had some music type thing going on. I can't even, they comprised it together. They came together with their sound, which I like, but they were saying something. Now hearing it, it's like big booties, this, that, like, I don't understand it. And then it's crazy because when you look at, go back a little bit, and you guys are able to do that with the internet now to see how people were looking. We had the big butts. We had somebody who had butts, but that was like our norm.
Right.
And then,
So nothing new, right? Nothing
right.
New. We talked about whatever was on our mind as well. So yeah, that's not it.
Yeah.
But when it becomes popular, then there's this mimicking going on. And so now everybody's doing it because they want to.
Where's the originality? Yeah, everybody got the little waist and the butt. And Ray had it when we was younger.
So to be cool. Well, they always have me trying, come down,
To lose weight? See?
Right. And then all of a sudden it was like, let me get that. Like, they want to buy what I was born with, and I'm like, now what? Like, there's always a mountain. There's always a mountain. So it's like, come on. So it's interesting to see the change in that too. Even pregnancy. Oh my goodness. When you were pregnant, you're going to have yourself a seat.
Okay.
Because it was masculine industry. I mean.
Yeah, you would go sit down.
With all the guys. You always one female with all the guys. But then we had then we had Cardi B pregnant on there. We just saw Rihanna at the Super Bowl with a whole belly.
Right.
That was big too. When they went ahead and said, okay, you're just pregnant right now, but you go ahead and do your show,
with a big shirt on. Like a big shirt and nobody.
Well, thank you goodness for social media for allowing women to be mothers. I don't have no problem with that. Because back then it was like, you get pregnant, you got a problem. We don't want to see your face. Get your face out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, what? No, seriously. And that was just a culture of it. That was the culture.
All right. Any other questions or anything that you want to talk to Rain about? What's coming up in the ATL, ladies?
Yes. What's going on in my old stomping grounds?
The ATL is just reforming and trying to stay afloat. We're doing that Black Hollywood thing. We getting the scripts together. And we are making people act. You know what I'm saying? That's where the fire is.
What my problem is?
We're trying to hold on.
Now
these doors are closed, and we're not seeing all the talent that is coming out of the world. I'm not talking about Atlanta, of course. Right?
Now, interesting. I was having a conversation, and when you said the whole acting, I try to minimize the people on because of the feedback. But you got so many rappers now that are acting, and the people who are acting, you look where I'm raising my hand. The people that are into the arts and acting, the door is not open for them because of what's popular. Even though, and I'm gonna tell you, I think Ice-T is a better actor than rapper.
Ooh, child, yes.
Always. So that, I'm like, Ice, who, what? You had Ice Cube, Ice-T, Vanilla Ice. Like, come on, can we get creative here? Then LL. Now, LL, all-time favorite male rapper. Hands down. The one who started the originality, the creator of the GOAT. Greatest of all times. That would be LL Cool J. Interesting how they don't give him his props, though, the real talk. They don't be like, how they'll say, oh, as so-and-so said, as Maya Angelou said, which it'll be something your grandmother said about 20 years prior to Maya, Angelou. But they won't give it to LL when they be like, oh, he to go, in the words of, like, can we give him his just due? And I'm going to give it to him. In the words of LL Cool J. Who's the GOAT?
Smith, another rapper who, to me, he's a better actor than he ever was a rapper.
So everybody
is who? Wait a minute, is who?
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
Much better actor than what he was as a rapper. But back then, we was cool with the parents just don't understand and all that. Because that's, what we was going through. But when you look at it now, he really, he's okay. He's not that great of a rapper, but an actor, yes. That man know he can act.
Now, I think that Will Smith, if I had to compare him as a rapper, would be Chance the Rapper now.
You think?
That's who that's who I see.
He deserves his TV show then. He do. Chance the Rapper. But everybody you guys are naming was that talented. If you look at their projects, because after we write a song and become popular, then we have to perform it 50 times. Now you acting, because I'm over here tired, but I'm about to just don't understand.
Right.
Will was always acting. LL was always acting.
Every time you come on stage.
So you got to pick people because they already were acting before that. Oh, Ice-T, who was a gangster. He your pusher man.
Yes.
But he the popo. Ain't
that funny? Listen, he does a good job of being the popo, right? Talking about I'm your pusher. And then he up here to flip sides.
Now he's arresting him. Now so that's definitely acting, right? So yep, that's the talent. Yep, if you can act, you can rap. That's
all right.
Sure.
Best AmberDee, best female rapper. Who's your best female rapper? Do you have one? Come on.
I would say it's Nicki Minaj.
Okay, best male rapper.
I'd say Lil Wayne. And I did want to mention when she was comparing the business models, and I think a lot of people have noted this, like the different business model from like P. Diddy versus Lil Wayne and the artists he's mentored and helped bring up, and then Beyonce and kind of Jay-Z by default started mentoring artists more. And I do hope that more people in the hip-hop industry take the time to start bringing in new talent and guiding them so that they can be more successful in the industry. But I do feel like there's different hip-hop, I guess, businesses that use different models with varying levels of success.
Mm-hmm. You said Beyonce and Jay-Z by default instead of the flip.
because Chloe and Haley were being mentored by Beyonce, and they're both singers. They're not rappers.
Right. Now, Jay-Z, who did Jay-Z bring on the scene, Rain? Come on, Kanye.
He ain't bring Kanye on the scene. Kanye is self-made.
He is. Go ahead.
Well, Kanye was a producer doing all the tracks and stuff. He wanted to
get her worked up.
All right, but we're going to say Kanye, but see, Kanye
he was self-made. Let's give him his props, though.
He got some mentors, too. I mean, some people, mentees under him, too, now.
Yeah, John Legend, though. He's the one that discovered John Legend.
Now, that's true. And I love that. I love that, because he kind of played the back on that.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely did push John Legend in the most big... And John Legend is from Ohio, right? That music.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That good music. And he loves Kid Cudi, too, Kanye. Yeah, and he has good music. He has his group up under Jay-Z. So we'll say, I don't know if people would agree with that Jay-Z brought Kanye. We're talking about bringing in younger, like Chloe and Haley.
I'm not feeling the Chloe girl with the no clothes on.
Right, well, that's because they're acting as well, too, right? We see them in movies, TV shows. They tie into what I said about that multi-talented already was acting.
Well, remember you had the three: a singer, a dancer, and an actor. Remember the triple threats when you first came on the scene? I get that, but those are like the singers, and I just feel like you're trying to turn somebody who's a ballerina girl into a hip hop head, and it just I'm not understanding. I'm like, let the little girl be a princess, like almost like when you go to just. Same thing with Whitney. We're going to bring Whitney, even though she's not hip-hop. Whitney Houston was America's princess. Acting, as you state. And that's not who she wanted to be. She wanted to be Bobby! You know, and then we blamed Bobby Brown. When I say we as the people, blame Bobby Brown for her downfall. And that wasn't even it. Go ahead, Nick. What you got?
Yeah, because she was doing it before Bobby. Behind the scenes, and that's the thing people don't know. Bobby didn't introduce her to drugs. Her brother did. Way before Bobby.
Acting!
So she was, like you said, a great actress on the scene, on that stage, but behind scenes, honey, she was already there. She was already doing things. So everybody wanted to make Bobby out to be the bad guy because they know that's what happened between him and New Edition? Nah, baby.
But he was considered the bad boy.
Doing that.
He was considered the bad boy.
That's why you see different movies of her, because it's different people in her life that want to tell their side.
Their side of the story, right.
different Whitney Houston stories from everybody. And so that has a lot to do with that. People have their different opinion on when it came in and what role they played in her life. And they want us to know, okay?
Right. Hey, if you want in on this conversation, feel free to do so. The phone number is 619-902-2287. 619-902-2287. We are getting ready to get into the hot topics. Thank you so much, Rain, for coming on the scene. We appreciate you. Let's give her a Shop Talk round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, let's get on with these here hot topics. Hot topics. Now, what I was going to say earlier, and then I caught myself, I stopped and was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Let's talk about this lady, the newscaster that is older. She older than the mug, and this is not ageism, but she's older. And she used Snoop's common phrase, but shizzle my nizzle, on air. So they terminated the lady. What's your thoughts?
She knew better.
She straight up looked like Martha Stewart. I was going to use Martha Stewart, but she kicks it with Snoop. So she's like straight up like that person. Like what's the lady who had the, air quotes, the slaves serving her people? Remember that? Paula Deen. Okay. That's what I was getting those vibes. Go ahead, AmberDee. What you got?
I mean, it's at the network's discretion. It's definitely, for being on air, it could be interpreted as unprofessional, but what possessed her to do that? I don't know.
She must have been ready to retire.
Now, let me give you the preface. Okay, they were doing a story on Snoop Dogg's wine. So you saw that up there in the little clip, And I'm thinking that she probably was like, trying to be hip. Mm-hmm. Her PR person, her grandchild or whoever, niece or nephew, probably was like, Grandma, you ought to say this. It'll be cool. Do this.
Feel right out of a job.
Right out of a job. And I'm feeling kind of like what AmberDee is saying. Journalism, like, you have hosts. We're hosts. Not a journalist. And there's a level of professionalism that I think you need to have where that does not need to be there. Now, it is said that she said she has a black, I guess, weather person or something, or co-anchor, and she already called her sis. She already called her sis. It was like, sis, tell us what it... So...
You know what? I can't really say anything to that because, with us coming from the motorcycle world, everybody that is in that world is bruh or sis. It don't matter what color.
I don't think the new air quote Paula Deen is and that, but I don't know what she does on the side.
Right.
But she says sis.
The TikTok mama here.
And then watch this. After she said sis, called her sis. And I guess they don't have that relationship. She said, your grandmammy.
Oh, nothing.
So then after the grandmammy incident, I'm thinking that she had some type of sensitivity in services or something. And then she says on air, for shizzle my nizzle. Now, I was having a conversation and a friend of mine was saying, well, for shizzle my nizzle was a way that Snoop said it where it wasn't actually saying the word. So does she get a pass or no?
No, because we know what he was saying. So we know what she was saying.
Go ahead, AmberDee.
I mean, I feel like she sounds like from a managerial, like upper management perspective, sounds like she was older. So now she's becoming a burden, not an asset. And then she's also a problematic employee. And so they took the opportunity to get rid of her when the opportunity presented itself to them. That's what that's my first instinct.
Okay.
Like, was it a terminable offense? Like, yeah, it was that bad. no. But if she has a history of being problematic and the company is like, I could see her costing us a real pretty lawsuit in the future. Let's get rid of her.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like.
And that's where I was at. And I also looked, I said, well, maybe she is like competing with the younger journalists to keep her job because she's been there for a long time. I want to say 20 plus years. Even though that's really not a long, don't be booting me out. That's the problem. The older people don't want to leave. Like, no. Especially if they ain't made their money yet. But she, I'm thinking like, was she trying to stay relevant? Like, I can be hip too. And it was just poor advice. Somebody gave her some poor advice. Nick still standing on what she's standing on. Listening audience, y'all already know how Nick do. Nick like, bye, see you, have a good day. Your ship has sailed.
Exactly. Because she knew better. I can see if she said for shizzle, stop it for shizzle. But when you add that nizzle in there, baby, you was wrong. I don't care whether you was black or white. You are in the public eye. You millions of viewers are looking at you and you want to say something stupid. She was looking to retire early, and like I said, she wanted to go out with a bang, and she did. Boom. See ya. There's the door. Exit stage left.
Oh, let me give you some sound effects.
Exactly.
Let me give you some sound effects real quick. All right, let's move to Reasonably Shady. Reasonably Shady is the podcast with Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon off of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, Giselle is under fire because she repeated what someone else said in their situation. I guess, I don't know if it was like on another podcast or somebody said something and they use the term that we don't use anymore. And I'm going to say exactly what it is and not the term because it is offensive. So it is the acronym for feminine acting guy. Okay, so it's the acronym for a feminine acting guy, and they are shredding her for saying it because she was repeating it, and then she paused like I did early on, and they said, well, she paused so she knew it wasn't right to say, but she was just repeating what someone else said. Do you think, with this whole cancel culture, do you think that she needs to be canceled because she repeated what somebody else said?
No.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Is this feminine? Does this word start with the F?
Yes, I just said that. Yeah, it's the acronym. She said the acronym to a feminine acting guy.
Now, was she repeating verbatim what somebody else said, and was it?
Yes.
Did she make it known that someone else said it?
She did.
Well, then no. It shouldn't. People getting on my nerves with this cancel culture mess because you're offended, but yet still you turn around and offend somebody else and think it's okay and be ready to go to battle with somebody because they going back and forth with you on your opinion, but you ready to cancel them about theirs. Man, bye. No, if she verbatim was repeating what somebody else said and made it known that it was somebody else who said it, then no. People need to sit down and have several seats, calm down. That's what's wrong with America now. We got other fish to fry than to be getting upset about some mess like that. Get upset about what's going on in politics that may be setting us back 400 years that we came forward. That's what y'all get upset about. Oh, kill me with that mess.
Nick over there acting like Bernie Mac. Listen here, America.
But I mean, I'm serious. People are like, nowadays, this cancel culture, they want to cancel culture over the dumbest stuff. But then these are a lot of the same people that will not get up and go vote.
Okay, what's your views on that? Should she be canceled or not, AmberDee?
I was just thinking, like, in court, like, if you're quoting someone or presenting it to, like, the judge and the jury as evidence, you would present their quote verbatim. So if she was saying, okay, this person said this, and she just recited what was this other person said, then no. Like, all she's doing is presenting the information to the audience.
I agree with you. I'm like, why are we so upset with Giselle Bryant? They just don't like her. Poor thing. They don't like her because of her skin color. That's it. Because that's what they tend to attack. They tend to attack her skin color and her eyes. And it's like, what does that have to do with anything? When we talked about the newscaster or anchor who actually was talking about for shizzle my nizzle, Nick, you want to share your experience? What's happening in Texas? Get your boots on.
Jesus. Okay, so everyone know, I make it known that I do drive Lyft. And, so therefore, a lot of times I try to change the channel to appease my different riders. And there's this one, I'm going to say mixed station, but mostly white.
Okay.
That I will turn it to. And they play, now, everybody remember J-Lo in the Ja Rule mix, because she had 2 different versions of the song, I'm Real. Back in the day.
Oh, I'm real.
Yes. So, this one station, all the DJs, and they play it out loud, plays the Ja Rule, the murder mix.
Okay.
Ja Rule. Now, all of the radio stations, when it comes to songs with a lot of cussing, because, people don't know how to make the clean version no more. They just make one version. And
so they just play it regular like it's XM.
Yeah, they play it regular like it's XM, but they bleep out
the curse words.
So that particular song they play all the time, Ja Rule cussing and say, he called, say the B word. I think MF is in there because I was listening to the song and pulling up the words, because I've been listening to this for a while. They playing it, and there's just one part that Jennifer Lopez sings, and I'm going verbatim. I tell them niggas mind their business, but they don't hear me though. And then, because I live my life to the limit. I love it. That part.
Okay.
So the N-word part that she says, now mind you, it's blurted out when Ja Rule says it, but they clearly let it play in her verse. Now, at first I was just tripping. I was like, did she really say?
So what did you do about it? Let's keep it going. What did you do about it?
What I did about it was, because when I finally was listening to it, and I was like, Carl, yeah, that's it. So I pulled up the words and seen that it, all the other curse words were blurred out. I contacted the FCC.
Okay, Nick, you done did something about it. Okay, community activists. So the black people, and what did you say? Did you say, listen, dear FCC, why is it that Ja Rule can't say the N-word, but J-Lo can? We have a problem, Houston.
I called.
Okay.
And asked,
Did somebody answer the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Go ahead and tell us.
I talked to somebody, but what she told me I had to do, what I did, was submit the online complaint. Because I told her, I said, I take offense to that. Number one, I said, because the black stations that play music that have a lot of cussing in it, they bleep out the cussing. They cussing.
Uh-huh.
You won't hear the actual words. I said, but this particular song, when Ja Rule cussed, it's bleeped out. But that particular word, when she says it, plays. And I said, well, she was like, well, they want you to name the station, name the DJ that plays it, and the time of day. I said, baby, I can't name just one DJ and one time of day. I said, I can tell you the station. I said, but I listen to it often because I changed the radio station for my riders. I was like, they play it all throughout the day. I could hear that song, listen to that, go back and forth to that station, and every time I play it, they play it 50 million times a day, every day, all the DJs, all night, all day, all night. So I can't just put it on one DJ at a specific time because they play it all the time. And that is the only time that they don't bleep out a curse word, is the N-word, and when she says it. Because even when Ja Rule says it, it's blurted out.
Okay, so if they had told you to change the channel, what would be your response?
Girl, I'd have cussed them out for real. Like, no, that's not what we gonna do. Because per FCC rules, y'all violating. There's a clear violation. That's why I was told to go ahead and do that online complaint. Boom. Now I gotta wait to hear from them and let them do their job.
All right, next hot topic. Monique. She finally got her Netflix special. What's your thoughts on it? I watched it.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen some reviews and it's mixed. Some people pro Monique, and I love Monique. They was happy for her, but then I've seen some with a couple comedians. They was like, it wasn't fun. One said it wasn't funny, and a couple of them said all she did was cuss and talk about the dizzle and this and that. And I've seen some reviews where they talk about she's coming out as bisexual. Okay, that's her business to tell. Why is y'all mad?
Yes. I
personally don't care. She could have kept that to herself, but that's her business to tell. Why is y'all mad?
Okay, go ahead. What's your thoughts, AmberDee?
Yeah, I didn't watch the special either, but I did read some reviews, and it was definitely mixed. It seemed like the people who liked Monique before, like her fan base, supported her, liked her. I also wanted to point out that some reviews stated that they felt like it was a venting session and not a stand-up special. And there were people defending her, her fans were defending her. And then also, I'm glad that Nick pointed out the misogyny that I observed and a lot of other people pointed out as far as her cussing on stage, because a lot of, famous comedians curse excessively in their sets. And I think it's because of she's a plus size black woman, basically. And it seemed like a lot of men, but also a lot of women were uncomfortable with that, even though there's male comedians that curse excessively in their sets.
Okay.
Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Murphy, Red Fox.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch. The list goes on and on. But here's my thing. You guys didn't see the special, but you saw the reviews. Have you ever watched her prior to her controversy in Hollywood?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen her stand up before, and personally, it's like chuckles for me. And I think she's, again, just like we were talking about these hip hop artists, she is an extremely talented actor. Obviously, she's an Oscar winner. And I know, and when Nick mentioned that some people are uncomfortable with the dick jokes, it was just like, well, she's
with what jokes?
Penis.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I didn't hear you. You can say what you want on here. I'm sorry. Okay. But I appreciate it.
And it guess to me, it was pure misogyny, because I think penis jokes are hilarious. So I feel like the reviews were very, very biased against her, and it was not just objective criticism of her performance, because I don't think she's like the greatest female stand-up comedian, but I don't think it was that horrible. And if anything, it was on trend with her past performances. So I felt like it was biased.
Right, because if you've seen her in Queens of Comedy, she talked about the dizzle and everything else. It's funny that these males are critiquing her for talking about dick, and I'm just gonna say it. It's okay to be you, dick, in her comedy, but yet still we have all these men talking about the cat all the time and what they do and this and that, and nothing said. There was nothing said about her saying the dick before her rant with Netflix, which got her that Netflix special now and got her the money that she wanted. So it was okay before, but now because she went head to head with Netflix and they finally, appealed to her, now y'all got a problem. Y'all didn't have a problem before.
Now,
because she had a problem with Netflix and whatever.
Well, you know what though? Let me say this. The whole Netflix, it started there. She wanted to get paid the same amount as other people. So I guess it's based on your personal preference. What comedian do you like? No, if you really aren't interested in that comedian, or what is it, comedian or something like that, for the females, I want to be politically correct. If you don't really like that person, that comedian, I'm just saying that. If you don't like the comedian, then why would you pay them that much? It's a business. And Monique has been consistent. Let me say, if you watch her, the way that she delivers her comedy is kind of like AmberDee. I feel the same way. It's chuckles for me. And her comedy is, it's narrative. She's telling stories as she goes along. For the people that said, oh, it's like a vent session. But that's Monique.
Exactly.
So if you watched her, you knew this is what she does. As far as for her saying, you know, talking about something, yeah, she just came out and said what she likes. It's a lot of people just telling their personal business. I really don't care who you sleep with. But hey, if you choose to share, share. I thought I saw Lee Daniels in her audience.
He was.
Okay, he was. Okay. So they
reconcile.
Yeah, so they reconcile, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. She also talked about, you know, she said she was special. I thought that was hilarious. She talked about that, but nobody's bringing that up, her being in special ed classes. You don't hear that. They're focused on the sex part. Have we become so sexual that that's the only thing that we're focused on? Is penises and vaginas? And who you sleeping with? You don't even went to people.
I think that it's the men. Like I said, what I noticed was a lot of men and a lot of male-identified women that were like, oh, even though men have been sex-focused since the beginning of time.
And that's her platform. Her platform is that, from a woman's perspective.
And like I said, and like you pointed out, Mel, like she definitely has a style. And if you're already familiar with her style, either you like it or you don't. But it was definitely, she was being herself, for sure.
Okay, I just want, like, there's many female comedians that are sex driven. They talk about sex. You don't hear no outrage from anybody. Some more. Especially some more. And I love her. Like, Lunel, a lot of them, they talk about sex and this and that, but you do not hear anybody being outraged when they talk about it. It's just because it's Monique and because of the last couple of years what's been going on with her, now all of a sudden they want to be outraged.
I completely agree with Nick, but to me, what pushed it over the edge for me was when I heard some comedians critiquing her cursing. I said, now this is absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly.
This is insane. Because not only are a bunch of male comedians curse excessively, but a lot of female comedians curse excessively in their set. I think that's it's absurd. I think it's misogynoir, honestly. It's because she's a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me go to this question. The question was, what? I didn't know it was another name for female comedian. Yes, it's, I say, what is it?
Comedian.
Comedienne. Comedienne. I'm like to pronounce it how you want to.
And comedian.
Comedian. Okay.
Learned something new today. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's why I was like, however you say it. Comedian. Okay, yeah. Comedy, comedian, comedian. Okay, we just gonna add the "an" on there. But that's how you spell it. That's why I was like, how y'all say it is how you say it. And then we'll move on from that.
Your girl Nick know a little something, y'all. A little something.
Okay, next hot topic. What is it? Sharon Davies. Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about this. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
I completely agree with her. Period, point blank.
Give him the backstory. Give him the backstory, Nick.
Okay, with Nike, she's calling to boycott Nike because Nike is using a trans female. I guess trans, or he's in the process of whatever, but he's dressed like a woman, and they're using him to promote like sort of like the Caitlyn Jenner, the Women of the Year thing. Like, so y'all just pushing us natural born women out.
Well, I got a problem with the kick your teeth in, but go ahead.
But yeah, like, so now, we have all of these, and I really don't want to offend anybody, but we have all of these males that are now, been in contact with their feminine side, and they want to be out, and they want to, baby, you like. So now they're literally pushing
the woman out
to the side with everything.
Okay.
Like, like we're tossing us to the side like we're nothing.
We already get lower pay, but I ain't gonna go into that. Go ahead, AmberDee, what you got?
So I feel like Dylan Mulvaney is a man. And that Nike is using a man to sell women's products and to tell women what kind of sports bra to purchase, even though he does not have breasts. As well as there was a controversy with Tampax with a man telling women what sanitary products to use, even though they themselves have never experienced a menstrual cycle. And I think that it is absolutely insane that we are treating a mental disorder as a delusion, and we are taking it and putting it at the core of our society and letting it rewrite the norms of our culture. And the result is women being pushed out of women's spaces.
Nick, you want to go to the comment?
Yes. Nate of YouTube said too much. Exactly. Let me tell you, listen, and I know we have a lot of listeners, and I'm not trying to offend y'all, but let me get y'all straight real quick. Trans men. You cannot tell a woman how to feel like or be a woman because you were not born one. Okay? You can't tell us what kind of bra size, what kind of bra we should get. I done had like 50 jugs. Them things are hell on the back. Until you had big titties like me, you can't tell me what size bra to wear. Until you've been crawling around on the floor because your menstrual cramps are so bad, you can't tell me what kind of feminine products I can. And until you are able to have a baby and squeeze it out or whatever, you can't tell a woman how to be a woman because you wasn't born one. Period. You choose to be one, and that's your right. And I'm not taking that away from y'all. But what you're not gonna do is tell a woman how to be a woman because you was not born one. Boom, mic drop.
I want to take it a step further and just say that these trans women, you're not women. I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings. Sorry, not sorry. You're not a woman. You were never a woman, and you don't know what it feels to be a woman because you've never actually been a woman for not a millisecond of your entire life. You feel what you imagine it feels like to be a woman, but you don't actually know what it feels like to be a woman. And beyond your genetic chromosomal makeup, your biological makeup, and the way you were socialized, you only have a periphery at best understanding of womanhood. And so for these, and it's really trans women, we don't ever hear, why is it that trans men don't get into these controversies? And I feel like that's that misogyny and that male privilege they're still taking into their full womanhood experience. To think they can come into our space as an imposter and then take over that space. And then also commandeer our title and our position in society with no repercussions.
Okay.
So I think it's insane. I was boycotting Nike for their child labor in foreign countries. So not supporting Nike is nothing new for me. But I do think it's so important that we as biological women really let our voices be heard to address this, because I think my prediction is you're going to see more and more disturbed individuals posing as trans so that they can harm and prey on women.
Well, you already know my thoughts.
Yeah.
You know my thoughts as far as like, you know, you can have a pedophile and say I identify as and go into the bathroom and molest the child. AmberDee, you want to go to the comment?
I can't see the comments.
Okay, go ahead. Nick, you want to?
Nate from YouTube said we'll have that same energy when it comes to being equal to a man. I understand what you're saying. I have that same energy, but Nate, what you need to realize is these big companies are not using trans men to push y'all out.
Now there you go. Okay, go ahead, Nick. You want to read the other comment?
Nate also said when burning the bra goes wrong.
Now here's.
Okay, so Nate, great commentary. Thanks too much for watching the show. But I do want to point out that there is a difference. If you look into the history of athletics and sports and why the women's divisions were created, is because women are not physically as strong or equal to men. That is a biological fact. And I think that because we are contorting emotions and feelings with biology, that's where the root of the confusion is. And that's why so many women's sports and women's divisions were created in the first place.
And that's accurate. Remember we talked about your Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. And remember, it was some girls that wanted to join the Boy Scouts because they didn't want to be a part of the Girl Scout because they identified as. Come on, this is getting out of control. This is almost that whole everybody gets a trophy. No, everybody gets a certificate of participation. The winners get the trophy. The winners get. So let's go to our next topic. LSU. Let's talk about it. LSU and Iowa. Allegedly, because I heard this on different outlets, that Dr. Jill Biden wanted to invite both teams to the White House after the championship. What's your thoughts?
Can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm trying not to be mad because I feel like that was white women protecting white women. So I can't be totally mad at that. But that's what it looked like to me. And as so many people at me, and one thing I would say I'm grateful for in our society is that the rebuke was swift and loud.
Oh, you talking about what, Angel Reese, what she said?
Yes, and then also Shaquille O'Neal and A. Smith. I can't think of his name.
Stephen A.
Yes.
Oh, Stephen A.
Stephen A. also spoke out and absolutely rebuked her statement and the energy and the intention behind it. And then of course there's backpedaling and excuses and contortions or whatever, but everybody knows what that was pretty much. I did not watch the game, but from the things I read online about it is that it was your standard athletic like trash talking and
that's the other part. That's the other part of it. I'm talking about the fact that you'll invite both teams. It was always one, just the winner to the White House.
Exactly. But I think it was just. So what I've heard about this, the one white female athlete in question is she's kind of like the star favorite or whatever, and she's brought a lot of attention to the women's basketball league, and and so she's a like crowd favorite.
Well, this is college though. This is college, huh?
College level. But I guess, and from what I've read, this was the highest viewed championship in its history.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the crowd favorite lost, and then there was some, allegedly questionable sportsmanship, people were focused on that instead of just the fact that they lost.
We already know what that was. And here's the thing. Let's back it up. You're talking about Caitlin Clark, mm-hmm. who was the one who initiated the "You Don't See Me." Right. She's the one that started it. Okay? She initiated it, here clear. And she actually says it. She actually says it on one of the outlets.
And it's
trash talk is common. And let's be honest, the more trash talk, the more trash talk, the better the game is. Real talk. Okay, you be like, I gotta see this. What's gonna happen? I thought that Angel Reese did it excellently. So you gonna start it by saying you don't see me. When I win the championship, you don't see me. That was so cold. It was so cold. And here's what's...
I loved her response to Dr. Biden's suggestion.
Right.
I thought she handled it so well. I love it because it's that new generation energy. Like, these young people are not taking it.
They are not. But watch this. Watch this. Let's really dig deep because y'all already know I'm getting ready to go a little deep. So go ahead, get your floaties. Interesting enough that she didn't say a single word. She made a hand gesture. And she's getting tormented by a hand gesture. Mind you, that was already done to her. They always say the second one get caught. But regardless, a hand gesture, silence. How often have we been told to be quiet, trying to silence us? You go missing, you know what I mean? You'll go missing because they want you silent so much. Colin Kaepernick, silent. Mm-hmm. Silent. So no outrage. I'll be respectful. I take a knee. I can't get a job. Come on, man. If y'all can't open your eyes, something is really wrong. Something is really wrong because they're focused on the silence. Oh, wait a minute. Ain't nobody talking. Oh, let's see what they're doing. Oh, we don't like the way you did something that anybody can do. Come on.
This is the excuse that the media, well, not the peoples, but they peoples.
The peoples, go ahead.
She did the gesture, but she didn't do it in anybody's face. She did it towards her team. I don't give a rat's patootie. She did it when
she did it toward her. That's how she saw it.
Right. But she did it to the South Carolina team. That was that everybody thought was going to win, that Iowa ended up beating. So therefore, it came back to her. Well, it was done in her face. Caitlyn did it, but this is why I admire both young ladies, because Caitlyn came to Ashley's defense. Period, point blank.
Well, she said the truth. I don't even know if it would be a defense. She said the truth of what happened. And she was I did it first.
Because it was said, she did say that, for people not to be upset with her because it's part of the sportsmanship, the trash talk and all of that. But
should she have had to? No.
She shouldn't have had to say anything, of course.
Yes, she should have.
No, she shouldn't have, because we, the people, should not be sitting there focused on just what the black girl does, but the white girl can.
Caitlyn should have went and corrected her own people.
Well, she did. She did that. She did.
And that was good of her.
But my point is, why did it even have to come to this?
Right. Just like with the invite, she said what she said about that. No, we should not be going because never in history has the losing team been invited to the White House. It's always been those won. So those ladies should have their moment. Ashley has now said, she said what she said at first, and she said, but, I had to think about it. And being, the team leader, she was like, I want to lead by example. And I know that my team is excited to go. So she, so they're going to go. And then on top of that, her cousin played on UConn.
Right.
And she said it's going to be good to be in the White House, at the same time as my cousin. So it's like So
are they going? Because she said, listen, when she said she wasn't going to go, I loved it. She was like, Michelle Obama, where y'all at? Like,
yeah, she sure did. But now because she's putting her team first and not her personal feelings. So they're going to go.
And you know what? I have to say this. I'm not speaking for the First Lady. I think she was just trying to be, I don't think she knew. And I'm trying, look, they gonna come at me. They gonna be like, she knew this is history. Trying to be the nicest person. However, I think it's President Biden was going for Iowa anyway. So it's like, you want us to come, like, for what?
Right.
No, and I I'm not going to be that nice to them, the Bidens, because they have some problematic history, especially in relation to like the Black community. So I feel like it's an agenda. It was intentional. Never in, like we've already established, and many people swiftly pointed out, that has never been done in the history of this event. Like, no. So I think there was definitely ill intentions behind that, and no, it wasn't just ignorance. And I feel like ignorance is a cop out.
Okay, so everybody get a certificate of participation and not a trophy. Speaking of how you feel about President Biden, well, he has a contender. He gets another Democratic challenger, which is the nephew of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's looking to file to run for his candidacy to run for president. Yeah.
I mean, what's his political positions?
Girl, I ain't got that to do. You know, I don't do the politics.
Right. we need to get Rugo on here just one time.
Yeah, we're going to have to get Rugo to come up. Look, we're going to have to get Rugo to come up. But Rugo, come on, let's talk politics real quick of what's happening. But the reason I'm putting that out there, since you brought up President Biden, because they're looking like nobody to run against him, so he'll probably lose, and then everything will just switch over, you know, back over, while we have the lovely indictment going on. I wanted to go back to I was watching Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. And Shannon was on it. Shay was on it. He was just what I said. Angel Reese, Mox, Caitlin Clark. She did just what she did. And it's stupid that this is what we're dealing with. No, we got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I.e., the Cash App man that got stabbed.
Oh,
that was crazy.
And that was in the news. Yes.
I can't wait for the investigation to come out on that one to find out what happened, who it was, why. Because there's definitely more to that story. Definitely.
Stab. The doggone Cash App founder stab. So my question is, are you ladies still rocking with Cash App?
I'm still with Cash App here and there, but I mostly like Zelle.
Yeah, I really fell back off of Cash App after they made their tax changes, and I get little statements now. Like,
yeah,
your Cash App statement for the month. I'm like, see, y'all was doing too much. That's why I had to stop rocking with you. when they changed the limit, like if it's over more than like $400 or something transactions in a month, they're gonna report it to the IRS. I said, see, no.
You don't want the I, the R, the S in your business. All right, let me get it here. The founder is Bob Lee. Younger guy, too. I said, this is nuts. They said he got stabbed and then he was staggering, asking for help. And another outlet, matter of fact, NBC News, I'll give you your credit there. They said that he was asking for help and then eventually passed away. A stabbing. Sound like a friend to me.
Yeah.
Should we act like Dateline? What happened? Sorry, go ahead. What?
I thought they consider, as far as criminology and stuff, stabbings are usually considered a crime of passion.
That's right.
Well, he has an Apple phone, and the prosecutor or the investigators talking about they're trying to ping his location and see who he was, talking to. Good luck with that, because as a former Apple tech, good luck with that, because Apple stands on their privacy, and baby,
they're not gonna find it.
Nothing.
Okay, 43 years old. Okay, Cash App creator Bob Lee, 43 years old, killed in San Francisco. So that was and that's an update from CNN. What else y'all got going on? Well, it's so much sadness. I'm trying to steer clear from that. What else y'all got going on? Nothing. Come on, girl. It's a talk show. You
were talking about Shannon Sharp's show. There was a segment where he had Mendices from Love and Hip Hop. I guess he was interviewing him, or he was a guest on his show. And he was talking about his life as a drug dealer or a drug deal, and the way that Shannon Sharp responded to it and the way Mendices presented the situation was very concerning to some people, and some people found it really offensive and indicative of like their character, I guess, because it was very much like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because in another portion of the interview, he mentioned that he has good in his heart, and I guess the implication was that he had good in his heart as far as this drug deal with this other person, but obviously he didn't have good in his heart towards his own biological mother. And then it also kind of parlays into, I forgot what state it is, that he's proposing, I think it's like Nebraska, but I'm probably wrong about that. But there's a particular state where they're proposing starting a alert specifically for missing Black women and Black girls, because there is a documented disparity in coverage of abducted Black women.
Yes, there is, and unfortunately, it's unfortunate because it will be world news when a young white woman turns up missing compared to Black women and Black girls. Like they're being and unfortunately, I am here in the number one state for sex trafficking. Like just the number one city. Like it's bad here. It is bad here. That's why I got to carry something with me at all times when I'm working. Cause I wouldn't be afraid to use it in self-defense. Like you're not going. I'm too old to be sex trafficked, y'all. Like and you can't traffic the women.
Well, I understand. If I do, I can't help but point out that age has nothing to do with being sex trafficked or being sexually assaulted, because there has been an uptick in older women
exactly
being sexually assaulted by men. And I feel like, tying it back to the first thing I mentioned, there is a mentality towards Black women where Black women are not seen as victims, they're not seen as valuable, they're not seen as precious. And in a lot of people's mind, especially like sex traffickers and people that are in that culture and lifestyle, you're just a resource, an object to be utilized for their own benefit.
Yeah, it's disheartening, and like we really need, and I'm glad they are trying to, bring that to the forefront and whatever, and we really need to beef up that, because like our young women and our older women, our women period, are just like at drop of a dime gone. Like where you don't hear nothing.
Exactly, and there's no media coverage. I feel like there's a disparity in the police looking for missing Black women and little Black girls, but then also, taking a step further, there is a disparity within the Black community as far as Black women being abducted. And I feel like that goes all the way back to slavery and the sexualization of Black women, especially young Black girls, where it's like, oh, she's fast and and the adultification of Black children in general. So it's like, oh, well, she's 14, so we're going to look at her as if she's a grown woman, which is insane. Even if, she might be physically developed, obviously she's not mentally developed. And there's just a lack of, like, all the way down to the community, even from other Black women. There's just this lack of compassion and concern for the well-being of Black women in this country, and it's really tragic. And I personally, I guess I wasn't surprised, but it was like, yeah, this is typical that these two men would be sitting here discussing this action or this strategy he took in his drug dealing, which is poisoning his own community, and think, oh yeah, that's normal, that makes sense. That's a good business strategy, completely ignoring the morality, of it.
Let's take it to the left a little bit. Do you think that's why they punish R. Kelly so bad? Regarding like Black women and focusing on that, and it's like, okay, well, let's let the Black women know, or let's let the Black powers that be, air quotes I'm using, know that, yes, we do care about black women, so let's lock up this black man for what he did to black women.
I think it was, I agree. I think it was precedent setting. So they had to make an example out of him. And then with this bill coming out of, I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the exact state, but this bill coming out about a specific alert for black women, missing black women. I think there's a change coming, a tide. There's a shift in the tide, and as obviously as a black woman and with nieces and little girl relatives, I think it's a great thing. And whoever gets scooped up in the dragnet, it just is what it is. If you was wrong or problematic, then that's just what it is.
Okay, let me get the people what they need real quick. That's in the state of California, and it's called the Ebony Alerts.
Yes.
Okay. Like when it comes to like sexualizing children and everything, you share a story. This was almost 13 years ago. My niece was about maybe she was 5.
Okay.
We were in the mall there. We were over at the mall there in Niles. My brother was getting ready to get married, so the fellas were in town. My dad was in town. They were going to get fitted. I just happened to be with them because my husband at the time, second husband, he was in the wedding. He was going to get fitted. He had my little niece. Mm-hmm. So my dad was looking for the bathroom. He went to the bathroom while everybody else was still getting fitted. Because this is about a month before or 2 months before or something like that. And when they got done, my brother's like, well, where's Dad? I said he went towards the bathroom. He was like, look, let's head that way so this man don't get lost. So we walking towards the bathroom because we were at the one store that's on the one end. We're walking towards the bathroom. We walked past the part where the big play area for the kids. We're walking by there, and there's this one particular stand there. I think it's a massage stand or something with the owner there. Like my brother, they were up ahead walking. My niece, she little and they not paying no attention. She behind them, lagging behind, but I'm purposely behind her.
Okay.
So this man that owns the shop there, and he's still there, was walking by, and when he walked by her, he took his hand and walked by her and took his hand and rubbed her face.
Oh.
Walked by. Girl, I went off. And when I went off, my brother turned around and was like, what's the matter? And I told him, and I said, he touched her face. My brother went off. My cousins had to catch my brother and was holding him, and just because my brother was getting ready to hurt this man, and the man just kept walking like whatever. Like, because that particular culture, they're used to marrying young children. Sorry, not sorry. But she was 5 years old. That's still a baby. What is you doing touching her? You don't know her. You didn't stop and say, oh, she's cute and that. And you just walked by rubber face because you saw she was walking by herself. I was waiting to see if he would have grabbed her because, baby, they would have had to drag me off of them too. But but my thing was I was upset because when security came, the first person they looked at and started talking mess to was my brother. Excuse me? Even after we explained to this fool what happened, and then the guy was coming back like casual, like whatever, walking back to his little kiosk. He never once went over there. He was steady talking to my brother, and we was like, Brian, let's go, and then my dad was walking up.
Look how she be dropping them names, don't she? You be like, we can figure this out. I'm glad that things didn't turn out the way they could have. But please hear me clear. I need you to hear this because we're getting ready to come to a close. I said it's the state of California. It's called the Ebony Alerts, which would help find missing black young children and young women. Now, let me say this one more time. Y'all heard it's called Ebony Alerts. Similar to the Amber or Silver Alert. Now, we got our own AmberDee who's black. So, will we use the Amber Alert for you? or the Ebony Now
what I've read is that people are totally supporting it, but they don't like the term ebony being used. And
right. Let me finish this.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, let me finish this.
Compared it to
watch this. Wait a minute. 1 second, sweetheart. 1 second. So let me carry on. So with that, are we or are we not segregating?
Yes, we are.
I think we're not just respecting the data, respecting the science. There is data that reflects that there is a discrepancy when there is a white or non-black child that goes. And I feel like it's even worse for other minorities, but there is discrepancy there. And I think if we don't try to address discrepancies or acknowledge that there is discrepancies, those injustices are just going to continue.
And I hear what you're saying, but watch this. So somebody presses, oh, okay, it's an ebony alert. Well, let me finish my lunch and then I'll go look. Oh, it's an amber alert. Let me put my lunch down and let me go now. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Mel, because it's really just going to bring to the forefront people's biases and why there is a discrepancy. And missing alerts, missing children's alerts, and maybe it'll cause people to reflect on why there's this lackadaisical attitude when there's Black children missing. And as far as Nick's story, I just feel like I wanted to point out the history of comfortability regarding Black women and like touching Black women and like touching our hair, and just the history in this country of, seeing Black women as less than, because I feel like that behavior is not something that's commonly done towards a little white girl in this country because of the history of this nation. You will not go and sit here, especially if you're a non-white person, go and start stroking the head of a little white girl because of the history in this nation. Like, there is a clear distinction in breaking the touch barrier when it comes to the person, when the person is white or when the person is Black.
I mean, he did say that she's beautiful, trying to defend that, but okay, she's beautiful, say that without touching her.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Seen her walking by herself and didn't see anybody with her. You seen a group of men ahead, and he didn't even pay attention to me. Didn't even see me. He just walked by, stroked her face, and I went off.
And that's why he did it. And that's why he did it. That's why he did it. But that's not okay. And don't let her feel comfortable with people just coming up and doing that, because then they end up snatching you.
Yeah, my brother, he kind of went out and he explained to her, like, that's not right. Say something. Like, you have to say something when I'm not around. You let somebody know. Yeah,
or scream. All right. Well, lovely people, today's footnote is you don't need a band to do hip hop. You only need a DJ. From the dream. I like it. And that's the truth. That's the truth. All right, lovely people. That is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you, as I do each and every single Saturday. If you feel like you want to listen to an older show, you can do so. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is below. If ever you feel like you want to voice your opinion live, you can do so, and that information is below as well. The phone number is 619-902-2287. You can also text. I did see some calls coming in, but Rain was on at that time, and she did answer those questions. So thank you, lovely people, for joining in and giving me a little bit of your time, and time I know you cannot get back. Today's topic was the hip-hop culture. And to my lovely people, happy Easter. Have a wonderful Easter Sunday. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully the day is shining and you keep shining too. All right, ready? Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Remember, this is the show where it's okay to be you. 1, 2, 3. Shut up! One day we gonna get it. Been doing this way too long, still can't get it. Y'all already know. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Peace.